it can for sure come up again, but I'm cool.
Dre'Mont, I know you have a decision to make after the season, but have you thought at all about this could be my last game in Ohio Stadium this week?
I'm just worried about this game.
What are your thoughts going into this game? What do you see when you watch Michigan on film?
I see a very huge O-line who plays aggressive. They're not looking to finish us, but they're looking to get us out of position so they can open up holes for that back. So you got to just be stout in the run, be super disciplined, even more disciplined than last week.
Dre'Mont, what do you guys reinforce with yourself going into this game? You know, we were talking to you last week about whether y'all had fixed the leaks, you think, you know, permanently in the defense, et cetera. But what's sort of the focus you think you guys should have as far as not letting the big plays out of the gate, so to speak?
I don't know. We just got to just find a way to just get guys down. I think our biggest issue this year is that we've been in the right positions, but we don't make the tackles. So we just got to be focused on just finishing plays.
Dre'Mont, what do you think of the idea that the guy coaching their offensive line used to be the guy coaching your offensive line?
I mean, it's whatever. He was here, now he's not, and he decided to go over there, so good luck to him.
Do you have any secret insight to how they block? Because you used to go against Ed Warren, our offensive lineman, in practice?
Nah, just film it help me. That's it. No secret.
Could you have secret insight into what you guys are all about? I mean, is there the sense of that?
Watch film? I don't know.
How much better is their offensive line this year than last year?
I think, you know, last year they were a little younger, and now this year they have more experience, and they're just getting better working together, and they look pretty good on film.
You guys are an underdog in this game for the first time since Urban Meyer's been here. Does that give you any kind of added motivation to kind of prove people wrong?
That and the fact that we're playing them. I mean, this is the game. This is not any ordinary game, even though we say it is. But the truth behind it is like this is the game of the year. This is another playoff game. I mean, we got to go out there and perform.
Dre'Mont, did you get wind of this so-called guarantee yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Ron Higdon.
I didn't hear about it.
He didn't say he's going to beat your tail, but I said, would you guarantee a win like Harbaugh did 20, 30 years ago? He goes, yeah, I'd go with it.
That's cool. It's good to hear that from him.
You like it?
Yeah, I like his confidence.
How about you? Any guarantees from you? Just mess with me.
I'm guaranteeing I'm a player on Saturday.
Do you guys do anything differently during Michigan week that you don't do for the rest of the season? Like, plan to do anything differently?
We play a lot more music, but game plan wise now.
Time for war.
Time for war. The other little.
You've been hearing it over and
all
over and
day.
over.
Yeah.
Does it ever get
tired
old?
of that, Dre'Mont?
Yeah.
How quickly did you get tired of it?
Yesterday.
When it comes to this game, though, Dre'Mont, I mean, I know you've probably been asked this ad nauseum, but what kind of memories do you have growing up when it comes to this rivalry game?
Just the rich history of it. I mean, I know that this game was always the most important when I was like 8 or 9 or 10. I never understood why, but I felt like over the years of being a sports fan of Ohio State and me actually playing here, I understand why. There's just so much behind it.
Just knowing that, you know, Ohio State kind of went through some suffering there in the late 80s and 90s. I mean, you probably don't even remember any of those games back then.
I wasn't even born.
Right, right. So, I mean, you're not even really used to seeing, like, OSU having a losing culture against Michigan. Is it kind of hard to believe that at one point there was something like that a lot of players had to suffer through?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we have a rich history of winning against this team, so us losing is not something that's expected in the building to them.
Dre'Mont, do you feel like you guys have played as a team your best game yet?
It's hard to say because I feel like there's a lot of games where we're not clicking on both sides equally. I feel like it'd be games where offense clicking and we're not just hitting it, and there's games where we're hitting it but the offense is not clicking yet. So I don't know.
With that in mind, how excited are you to play a game that tends to bring out Ohio State's best?
Very excited. I mean, it's a lot more than just us preparing. This is the game of the year, I feel like, out of all the conferences.
Can you sense what's on the line? I mean, as a player, do you understand what's on the line? A Big East title. I mean, how does that manifest itself? I guess with you guys. I mean, does it add pressure? What does it add to the build up?
I mean, it's already added pressure being at the school. So this game only enhanced the excitement for myself because there's so much on the line. I mean, it's obvious enough. I mean, title games, playoff opportunity, national championship opportunity. So it's so much to weigh in on. But we just got to go out there and play and just kind of compose ourselves.
You were asked about you being the underdog in this game. Does that make it this edition of the game feel any different than it has in the past for you?
No, just another way to create more excitement for the outside people. No emotions have changed on us.
What does Urban tend to be like this week?
The same as always. I mean, we prepare the same for the team. Even though we know the magnitude of this game, we just prepare the same, though.
He said he was concerned about how many plays you guys played in the last game.
Yeah.
Does he have to dial you guys back in practice this week, if that makes sense? I mean, I imagine you're pretty motivated to go out there every day, and yet you also need some rest.
True, man. Whatever's on the script, I'm going to do it. So if the script says do a little bit more, I have no choice but to do more.
Dre'Mont, I don't know how to ask this in a question, but there's no senior
not gonna stop
starters. I'm going to just talk for 2 minutes and then you can talk.
I got it.
There's no senior starters on this defense. Nick left. We know sometimes you've made big plays in big games this year. We've seen that. The way this defense works in a game like this, if there's going to be big plays made, you're going to have to be one of the guys who's going to make those big plays in a game like this. That's who you've been. That role for you, that responsibility, what's that been like for you this season? Do you feel that? Do you enjoy that? How have you carried that, knowing that if this defense is going to be good, you're Dre'Mont Jones and you have to be one of the leaders of that?
Well, I play football not to be basic. I play football not to not ball. So if I'm going to be out there, I'm going to give my effort to make a huge play. And if the team needs me to make a big play, I'm going to give it my very best to make that big play, regardless of the circumstance, if we're down by 70 or not.
Do you, in games like this, right, do players like you feel that even more in a game where you're playing a great team? Not that you don't feel it every week, but I mean, you know they need you.
Of course I do.
What effect do you think it has had on the defense that there are no senior starters?
I don't know. I actually never really paid attention that none of us are actually true seniors. So I have no really opinion on that.
Dre'Mont, Coach Meyer talked yesterday about respect between the two teams. How do you balance respect with the, I don't know if hatred's the right word, but the rivalry, if you get what I'm saying, you know, the animosity between the two teams? How do you balance those two ideas?
I feel like they kind of coexist with each other. I think the rivalry comes with respect. I mean, we don't have a rivalry with them for no reason, because that's some respect there. So, I mean, like I mentioned before, just got to come out there and just play with composure and just understand that this is a big game, but to make the game big, you have to play big.
Was there, as an Ohio guy, so you grew up with this a little bit, you understood it before you got here, but when you did get here, your first year, was there an older guy, a veteran in your room, who Michigan Week sort of helped explain what this game was really like, or what's that like when you're a young guy?
I don't know, because it was a little different process for me, because I wasn't like always in the room. I was doing rehab because I was hurt, so I couldn't even play. So I don't know. I'm more so of a fan my freshman year, I felt like.
Really?
Dre'Mont, teams have an option when they approach a rivalry game. You can either downplay it, try to stick to your routines as much as possible, but you can add layers to those routines, make things a little special, play it up, you know, call them by a name that they're not actually their name. Why do you think the latter approach works at Ohio State? Because there's no way that Urban is downplaying this week.
I mean, it's how we are. I mean, he's recruited guys, and we've been coached by coaches to always be humble about who we play. I mean, we understand the magnitude, like I mentioned before, but like we're not gonna go out there and just do something chaotic or stupid to mess up our chances.
Dre'Mont, Greg suggested after the game Saturday that he wouldn't even look at Maryland. He would immediately start studying because of the differences in the offenses and you know, probably not having much to gain from that kind of study. Is that true? Did you all sort of put that behind you and just start studying this year? Or did you take any time at all to look at Maryland?
As a player, you know, you want to know how you did on film so you correct your mistakes. I mean, even though they're totally different teams, I mean, there's something in the football field that's similar to teams no matter what it is. I mean, I feel like Maryland, their splits are tight, and Team North, their splits are tight, and you got to find a way to adjust and play off that.
If there's one lesson from the Maryland game that you all as a collective defense can take, I mean, obviously it didn't go the way you wanted to go, what would be the lesson to help you this week?
I don't know. Can't think of anything right now.
Dre'Mont, Michigan has had some instability at quarterback last few years. Shea Patterson's come in this year, given them some stability and confidence. What do you see him bringing that hasn't been there in years past?
In a way, he kind of reminds me of McSorley a little bit, and the fact that he can His running and throwing ability is pretty good. I mean, I feel like in the past years they haven't had a running quarterback like him, so he creates a whole new dynamic we have to worry about. So,
Dre'Mont, what is the mindset of this team right now? I mean, maybe not the way you expected to get here, but you guys are 10-1 with a chance to go to the Big Ten and win a national title. All that stuff's still ahead of you, even though you guys are kind of maybe limping in here a little bit. But what is the mindset of you guys right now between those two dynamics?
I mean, our mindset has not changed. We continue to try to be stout in everything we do. I feel like, things are just getting overplayed because the games are closer than what they're usually used to. I mean, we do not have the same personnel, like I've said before, so don't expect every game to be perfect. I mean, we're 10-1, we're not 1-10. I mean, we're winning good games. We won against ranked teams. I mean, we're going to play up to our competition.
Hey, Dre'Mont, is there a thing that you, sometimes I think fans say that people who are from Ohio or who grew up in Ohio and watch this team as children understand inherently more what it means to play for this team. And sometimes that might translate into, just the way that you approach things when things are down. Do you buy into that? Just the fact that you grew up in Ohio, you understood this rivalry from the time you were a child, and maybe understand what the privilege of what it is to wear Ohio State's uniform more than maybe somebody who grew up in California, Texas, or Florida. Is that real?
Yeah, I think that's real. I mean, like you said, I'm from Ohio, so I mean, this is all I heard about. I mean, growing up being a football fan, so now being a part of it, it makes it even more monumental because I am a fan of Ohio State and I am a player. So, I mean, that just makes me more amped up to play.
When you see a guy like Terry McLaurin, who's from Indiana or Indianapolis, who's playing like a captain and doing crazy things on special teams and an offense, he seems to really embody that. What being his teammate and somebody who probably knows him, when you see the way he plays, like how do you describe that? How did he learn it? Does he play above the line a little bit?
I mean, yeah, it's a test of who he is. I mean, Terry is a very respectable, humbling person who doesn't play into the hype of what things are going around him. I mean, if there's someone telling him he's good, he gets that, so he's going to find a way to improve off that. I mean, Terry's not someone who just celebrates all his accolades alone. He's really a team player.
He's going to play like an Ohioan?
I would say, yeah.
Thank you, Dre'Mont.
So when you get pressure on Patterson, will he run or run to throw?
He runs to throw.
Thanks, Dre'Mont.
Thanks, Dre'Mont.